Good afternoon. I'm Fe, Head of Digital Marketing of Workbank, your job site with Malasake. Thanks for joining us for today's Workbank Think Tank. Please say hello to my co-host, Workbank's HR Manager, Christian Rodriguez.
Hi, Faye, and afternoon to our viewers. Thank you so much for supporting Workbank. Just a quick introduction of Workbank. We are the job site that lets you job hunt with benefits. And you may be wondering, what benefits? Please watch this. Say yes to job hunting with benefits. Sign up today on workbank.com. For now, let's get back to Workbank Think Tank. We will be discussing today how to get the tech mindset. Paano nga ba magka-tech mindset and why is it important, Fe?
It's critical to have the tech mindset right now because most of our transactions are online. The pandemic has forced us to stay home and just do what we can online. Siguro dati if you were iffy about doing online shopping, baka ngayon hindi na. Kasi during the ECQ, we had to get used to doing our groceries online, getting our veggies and fruits online, and the list goes on. So it was either that kasi or you risk getting out and getting sick.
Totoo yan, Fe. But you know what? What I want to know now about being online is how to get some sort of income from it. During this time, when some people lost their jobs and took pay cuts, people now are really looking to augment their income. But they don't know how and where to start. What else can we do online aside from online selling? Hindi naman kasi lahat cooks, bakers, PPE, and mask makers, at kung ano-ano pang uso ngayon. May iba pa bang pwedeng pagkakitaan online?
That's why we invited an expert in having an online presence and building a business from that online presence. She's a lifestyle journalist with a career that spans 17 years and saw the transition of popular media from print magazines and newspapers to websites, video, and social. She's the editor of gistph.com and Gist Journal. Please say hello to Chonx Tibajia. Hi, Chong.
Hi.
Hi, Chonx.
Hi, Fe. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Chong.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're very excited to have you. So, Chongs, actually, I'm curious. So, you've had 17 years of experience as a journalist. How's your journey in the transition from print to digital?
Um, Okay, yeah. So 17 years is a long time, and I have gone through a lot and seen a lot of things. One of the things that I really vividly remember was 10 years ago. My mentor told me na whatever is happening anywhere else in the world will happen in the Philippines 10 years later. And at that time, I was like, what? Okay, are you sure? But that was the time that we were so worried that newspapers were gonna fade away and no one was gonna read anymore. And then true enough, 10 years later, here we are in the digital transformation. So yeah, it was slow, but there was a huge learning curve for us, and right now we're still learning because things are moving really quickly.
I can imagine. So,
So
Christian,
yes, by the way, just a quick note to our viewers. If you have, any questions, please leave them at the comment section and we'll get to them later. So for now, we'll turn over the floor to Chonks.
Okay, yeah, so here are my slides. So today, I'm going to discuss embracing new opportunities and navigating new realities in the digital age from the perspective of a writer and journalist. So, okay, can we go to the first slide, please? Yeah, so let's just pretend here that I can hear your answers. And can you please just think about like what you felt about your job when the pandemic first started and when we first went into lockdown? Because I for me it was especially when we started categorizing ourselves as between essential and non-essential. I really felt as a writer, I really felt like a non-essential person. Literally, um, my work, what I create, is the last thing that people need. So I think a lot of us, a lot of writers, and a lot of creatives really had to get through that and get over that mindset and recalibrate how we think about our work and just be realistic about our goals. What we did, like for Gist, we launched a magazine in February of this year. So if you can imagine, like March, biglang, okay, we can't, lockdown na tayo. So what happened was we had to quickly adjust to what was happening and just launch a new section on our website that was catering to writers and people who are on lockdown, which is all of us. So if you can see here, the photo below, our first issue featuring Army Malyares, the Inside Voices, which is our digital cover for April. Next slide, please. So these are just a few things that that fell under that digital issue. So they all relate to being useful and telling people, letting people know that um, they're not alone and that that everyone basically is feeling more or less the same way as they are. But also we have fun stuff. As you can see here, we have our K-drama series according to your zodiac sign. So it's not all heavy. Next slide, please. And then as a writer also, personally for me, since I was feeling non-essential, I really had to rethink how to be useful to people. And so a personal pivot of mine that also involves being online is doing writing workshops. Okay, next slide, please. So let's talk about being a writer in the digital age. So these are just a few examples of what writers do. So I divided it between traditional and new media. So traditional, we have journalists, the authors and novelists, copywriters, script writers, technical writers, editors, screenwriters, and PR writers. And then we have the new media writers, which are the vloggers and live streamers, which we have a lot of lately because we're all on lockdown. Yeah. And then we have social media influencers and social media managers. We have poets on Instagram. We have content writers and even caption and testimonial writers. So I would say that I've done all but two of these things. So next slide, please. So yeah, now we can talk about how you can use digital platforms as a source of income. I'm sure it's not just a problem for writers, it's a problem for a lot of people, a lot of creatives. So here are just some of the things. So if you want to go on cam, you can be a blogger, which can be like, you can be a traditional blogger, meaning you have a blog site and you write there. Or B, you can be a blogger on Instagram. So you're not hosted on a specific platform, except you just post your content on Instagram. And then you have vlogging and live streaming. We have some examples of platforms below which you can monetize as well. And then you also have podcasts. So for these examples under the on-cam type type of content creation, you really need a lot of followers, and then you get your income from advertising and subscriptions. So this is very like growth dependent. You really need to grow your following. If you're not the type to go on cam, you can go behind the scenes. Like this is what I do naman. So I do production or strategy. So you can either do content creation, which is you write for other people, other brands, or you do photography and video for other blogs possibly, or other websites. Or you can do social media management, which means you post, you do captions, and you take care of the growth of specific social media accounts. So the difference between the two is the first one, you only take care of the creative side, the production side. So you make sure that they have content to release on a regular basis. Whereas social media management is you also look into the strategy, how to grow the brand, how to make it look really, how to make the feed look really compelling, all that. And the third part is you can also have a product or service, as many of us have done during this pandemic. We've gone into all sorts of businesses, so e-commerce. So you sell things online, you trade things online, and you set up your own website to sell these things. Or you can also do like I have, you can also do workshops and tutorials via Zoom or Google Meet or Microsoft. So, and you can also do ebooks, which you can sell if you're a really if you can really write really fast, you can sell ebooks also. But I'd like to focus on some reminders when trying to earn your income online. So the first thing is really a lot of people become so numbers obsessed that they forget about be looking far into the future and seeing things in the long term. So they forget about the value of their content and just focus on growing their account, regardless of whether these followers are paying attention to them or not. So it's important to focus on creating content that you love so that you don't also burn out in the process. And then the third is aim to provide value. So people aren't just hanging on to your posts because there are freebies or because they like the photo, alam mo yun. So when you change for example, you do something different, they still they still look forward to what you're gonna post because you provide value for them. Next slide, please. Okay, so here naman is for using digital platforms for career advancement. So number one that I have to say is there really is no shame in self-promotion. I know a lot of Filipinos, including myself, are quite shy on social media. Like, magpo-post lang ng selfie, may disclaimer pa na, pagbigyan nyo na ako, and stuff like that. But if you're gonna be using your social media platforms to promote your brand or your personal brand or your product or your service, you really have to sort of just go for it. No, you can't be shy about it. So resolve to be strong, thick-skinned, patient because it takes a while, and diligent because you need to be consistent about posting and reminding people about what you're doing all the time. So for it to work. The second is if you're trying to look for a job or if you're trying to connect with possible collaborators or employers, it's important to make your IG and FB background check ready. What do I mean by this? So use your Instagram and Facebook as an extension of your portfolio and make the most of your captive audience. So what I mean here is not to clean up or not necessarily clean up or sanitize your IG, but just be mindful of what's there, and make use of the platform to promote yourself in a positive way, in a productive way. So you can post your articles there, you can post your events there, your activities, even if it's your personal account. People still look at it. Employers who you've applied to, people who want to work with you, they check these accounts, and they have to be ready. I mean, you have to be prepared for other people to see them. Also, yeah, finally set up your LinkedIn. It's not another social media account, and it doesn't take a lot of maintenance. So if you set it up and just make sure it's professional looking and you have all the information there, it will work. It will sort of function on its own. And then if there's a platform that you can't maintain, delete it or make it private. Like for me, I can't maintain my Twitter, so I keep it private. So that's the reason for this, is like you don't want a lot of of accounts that have no that people can't verify, or people can't find anything on, because yeah, it confuses your brand, and it also makes you look kind of messy online. So, and then yeah, create a professional looking portfolio or website on WordPress. So I recommend WordPress because it's, for me, it's the easiest to use, and there are a lot of things that you can do to make a professional looking portfolio, and you need it especially if you are creative. Create a newsletter. So yeah, there has been a debate over newsletters, because yeah, when you're on the receiving end of newsletters, it's like you sometimes feel like it's spam, diba? But you sign up for it, so you can easily just unsubscribe. But for the writer, or for the creator, content creator, a newsletter is a valuable tool to send your message out and get your word out. Next is be useful. Share information, expertise, offer help, support your friends, and promote others. So you don't want to be the lurker or the leech on social media who just keeps messaging friends for help, or who just keeps selling to friends, never promoting them. So it's important to just return the favor and be generous as well. Second, okay, next, don't censor yourself and instead be mindful. So yeah, definitely still post your opinions on your social media sites. They're your personal sites. Feel free to use them as you like. However, be mindful of, especially if you're looking to advance your career, be mindful of how it will reflect on you, and how it will affect people. So yeah, just try to be aware of what you're posting. And finally, respect personal boundaries. So in the process of networking and promoting yourself, or asking people for, hey, do you have a racket? Do you have work for me? All that stuff. You need to respect their personal boundaries also, meaning like don't message them late at night, or don't spam them with emails. It's very simple, but sometimes we forget because we're so excited. So to summarize, like, you're using online to advance your career, you need to connect, interact, and share. Okay, next slide, please. So for all the creatives, what do you do if your anxiety is blocking your creativity, which is what happened to many of us during this whole pandemic. So find a new creative outlet. Try to take a step back. Don't force yourself to write. Don't force new ideas. And a lot of us became plantitas and plantitos. Some of us took up baking. Those are all creative outlets. Some went into TikTok, and yeah, they all work because they stimulate your creativity without pressure. So yeah, and then limit social media exposure. This is this is really this is sort of um, common sense, really, but a lot of us forget because we're just so attached to our phones and our laptops, especially during ECQ and GCQ. No, we're working from home. We're in front of the screen all day, and we can't help but like scroll and refresh, scroll and refresh. It's a never-ending cycle of scrolling and refreshing. So, especially if we're seeing a lot of negative things on the news, it's important to limit social media exposure so that at least you can control what your thoughts, and you can just relax. Okay, the third is consume content you love. So as creatives, you can't just keep on giving. Our work kasi it's like it's an outward flow of thoughts, of feelings, of words, and you can't do that, and you can keep on doing that. It's just not sustainable if you don't replenish yourself. So read, watch TV, yeah, bake, do things that make you feel nourished. Okay, and then if all else fails, if still nothing works, step away from the computer and just let it be. Just it'll come. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, for finally for writers and creatives who are still worried about their job or about their future during like after all this, and to be honest, who isn't, right? So here is why you shouldn't worry, or at least here are the reasons why you should like stay positive. So the first one is opportunities are expanding because of the emergence of digital platforms. So as I enumerated earlier, there are a lot of new opportunities for creatives. Actually, even if you're not a writer, you can be a blogger, you can be a vlogger. So there are a lot of new opportunities on digital platforms. Number two, the world is so physically disconnected, and the things that link us, news, stories, films, music, messages, letters, they're all driven by words. So if you're a writer, someone somewhere out there will inevitably need you because all these platforms require communication. Number three, the audience is glued to the screen. So now more than ever, it's now is the time to promote yourself on digital and to do the things that you've always wanted to do. Like if you've always wanted to have a podcast or host your mini talk show, it's now is the time because everyone is watching. Number four, there's so much new material because of new attitudes, environments, and challenges. So if you ever find yourself mentally blocked or having a creative block, just look to your own experiences because I'm sure we're all experiencing new things every day. I mean, this is as it has been described so many times, unprecedented times. So there's a lot of new material to write about. And then finally, what doesn't kill you makes a better writer. I mean, stay safe and stay at home and just yeah. And if what all these challenges will make you a better writer in the future. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Chongs. I learned a lot about your presentation, so I'm very grateful for it. I used to be a writer, actually. I started as a writer. So those are very helpful. Nakaka-relate ako, especially dun sa what to do when anxiety is blocking your creativity. So I've experienced that even not just in writing, but also, in work in general. So
Yeah.
yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think everyone will find it very useful, especially yung limit social media exposure. So I think it's very applicable not just when you have a writer's block or if you're I think if you're experiencing anxiety in general, because there's a lot of sad and bad news, just reading going through the feed. So for me personally, malaking tulong sa akin limit social media exposure. Thank you for that. So, what do you think about it, Christian?
Yes, so I agree with what Chong's mentioned kanina, no, Fe, about being assertive and determined when you promote yourself. Because a lot of people now who are successful in YouTube and Facebook, I mean, they did things that other people cannot do because they are too shy. And personally, as an HR practitioner, I'm always mindful of my actions, especially in social media. I make sure that I maintain respect when posting my comments in Facebook groups, lalo na if it has something to do with my profession. And there was also this time then, no, before when I deactivated all my social media accounts because everything was going toxic na talaga and it has become a very vicious cycle. That's why I really shut down myself from social media.
Yeah, it's very interesting, Christian. Actually, Chonks, Christian is just shy, but he's not a very digital person. So he has actually some questions for you. Go ahead, Christian.
Oh, actually, my first question, Chongs, is I want to know what is the difference between blogging and vlogging?
Okay. So bloggers have been around since the early 2000s. I think if you remember Multiply, um, we have long form posts there that those were allowed, and I think that would count as the earliest form of blogging. And then we have Blogspot, and now we have WordPress. So blogging is basically being hosted, having your own website, and producing your own content online, which is mostly articles and photos. Vlogging naman is video blog, so vlog. So that's when you go in front of the camera and pre-record content and then upload it to a platform like YouTube or IGTV. So and then yeah, so and then also just to follow that up, we also have live streaming, which has become popular now. The difference naman is that from vlogging is it's live and you're showing it as it happens. So yon.
Yes.
Hmm.
Actually, since we're on that topic, I'm curious. So, between vlogging and vlogging, or maybe even live stream, which is easier for making money?
Um, hmm. Well, they all have their own challenges and they all have their own advantages, but it really depends on where your strength is. So if your strength is writing, it's better to go into blogging because that's where you'll produce more content. So for blogging, you'll be earning from advertising, paid partnerships, stuff like that. And then for vlogging naman, it's so dependent on your following. So of course you're still gonna get advertising, but that's still dependent on your following. So these platforms you can monetize them like Facebook. I think IGTV just announced that they can be monetized as well, but you will have to have a certain amount of followers to be able to do that. So yung difficulty don is getting to that point, no, that point of popularity where you can earn from it na. Before that, wala, talagang you have to work and just produce and keep the faith.
Yes. Keep the faith talaga.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned kanina, Chongs, nga, no, na Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, they already started and they already monetized contents of vloggers and bloggers then. So I want to know, what do you think is the future of blogging and vlogging? I mean, do you think it's gonna be worth it in 2020?
Yeah, in 2020 definitely kasi I mean there are a lot of bloggers and you will have a lot of competition, vloggers I mean, and you will have a lot of competition if you're just entering into the industry now. But it's becoming digital is becoming such a rich platform na parang hindi ka rin mauubusan ng ipopost, hindi ka mauubusan ng gagawin, hindi ka mauubusan ng ideas. So at the same time, like I mentioned earlier, the audience is glued to the screen right now. They're hanging on the to every word of to the every word of bloggers and vloggers or live streamers. So people are craving content. People are craving good content. So there's definitely a place and a market for vloggers right now.
Okay, all right. I believe we have some questions from our viewers. So let's get to some of them now. Chonks.
Okay.
Okay, so question number one, this is from Maan. Uh, any advice for people who want to start writing but don't know how to organize their thoughts?
Oh no. Well, okay. I'm sure meron ka ring ideas about that because you're a writer too. Yeah, yeah, but don't know how to organize their thoughts. I think all articles start that way. They all start. I think this is just my advice. They all start that way. Any article starts that way. Magulo. It's just like uh, um a mess of thoughts and ideas. And don't think that ikaw lang yung ganon, na ikaw lang yung, oh no, I can't organize my thoughts. Because every writer, when they begin an article, ganon talaga siya magsa-start. So what practical advice could I give? It's just siguro just do it. Just organize, do an outline. So if you still don't know how to sequence the thoughts, just write them down, bullet point, and then when you see them written down, you'll see na okay, this pala needs to go first because I think it's more important. Stuff like that. Things will appear when they're written down, na, especially if you're a writer. So yeah. Yeah, don't think that you're the only one, and also just write them down and you'll see the sequence.
Okay, so I have another question here, this time from Carla Core. When experiencing creator's block, when do you tell yourself that it's time to push forward with what you do, or when do you tell yourself to quit?
Ah,
This question, like, give up na ba ako?
yeah. It really depends on what you need to do, but you definitely push forward when you have a deadline. Parang pag deadline na, wala ka ng choice. Your best idea, that's it. You do it na, and then you submit your story because you have to stay professional. But if it's just a project that you're doing for yourself, and I know this because I've experienced this, there will be a lot of times when you will want to quit kasi parang you feel like your ideas are getting stale or no one is appreciating them. It's all part of the process. And I really I don't think there is a time that you should quit unless you're in a business and it's really palugi na. I think that's the only time you should acknowledge na, okay, maybe this isn't for me. But if it's just creativity, you just push.
Agree. Actually, another question from Carla Core. So, is it healthy to always compare your work with others?
There are advantages and disadvantages to comparing your work with others. I try to read art. I try to read authors or journalists whose writing I admire. So kasi that's how you learn. You adapt. That's how you first learn to write. You adapt your idol style. So I still continue to read other people's work. But yeah, it's in terms of comparison, you just read it but don't compare because every writer, especially if you're just starting out, every writer starts out differently, and we all have different backgrounds, different things that inspire us, different styles. So yeah, if your audience gets you and appreciates you and you can communicate your message well, then that's your style. And I think you should stick to it instead of trying to copy someone else's style and then not relating to your audience.
All right. So I have a question here, another one from Mr. Evan Arnaiz. How do you generate revenue for your website? How to get ads? Because he said that he's working on, putting up his own website too.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really a advertising. It's really a business of relationships. So before you even think of selling your site or selling your content to other people, you have to be um, you have to be confident in the relationships that you have, and you really have to cultivate not just business relationships but friendships, because if people trust you, they trust your content, they know you deliver the work, they will advertise with you even if your following is not as much as yung other people's, diba? They will still choose you because they've worked with you and they know that you can handle the job. Um, yun. So in terms of ano naman, in terms of um, other ways of earning income from blogs, you can also offer apart from advertising, you can also do advertorials. You can offer up and coming brands a space on your website and write about them, or you can, yeah, native content. So yeah, and then you can also tie your website to Instagram and YouTube, so you can have this connected flow of income.
So another question from Rion Palacios. So Chonks, what's the best way to start a podcast?
A podcast. Oh no. I think the best way to start a podcast. I know Rion, he's my friend. So
Oh,
I think I think the best way to start a podcast is to first listen to other podcasts, because it's a very new, I mean it's not new, but it's just now gaining popularity, and it's just now reaching the mass audience. So listen to other podcasts and see what you like, what resonates with your style, and just study first, because yeah, study what style you want, and then just do it. Try to record yourself and listen to yourself, listen to your recording. If you feel like you sound weird, ask a friend, hey, do I sound weird? Do I make sense? Do I make a good narrator or something, or interviewer? Just just study, research, and then do it.
mm. I think if I may add, so they can also ask their friends to listen to them initially para may feedback also.
Yeah, oh definitely.
Okay.
All right. I have a very good question here. No, I like this question. It's from Mr. Teapot. So his question is, are there any tools out there to validate or check plagiarism if you start writing or blogging?
Oh wow. Yeah. You mean with you yourself? Like how, what plagiarism in what way? Like if people are copying you
Yes, or you
using your
might
content.
actually,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really check if people are copying my content. So, but there are resources. I mean, when I was still with Philippine Star, they use some resources that are available on the internet to check if there are duplicates of articles on the web. But yeah, usually you can just check on your own. If may kutob ka, 'di ba? I mean, if may kutob ka, or you see a very similar, if you're a blogger or a content creator, obviously you're very exposed to what's happening, and you watch your feed all the time. So if may kutob ka na, oh, this guy posted somewhat the same title or something, or same topic as you did, you just check it na directly, and it's just really easy to double check naman.
Just to add to that also, in terms of double checking. So like sabi ni Chongs, if may kutob ka na nga na kinopya siya, so pinaka-quick way, but it doesn't always hold true, is copy maybe 1 to 2 sentences of your article and then paste it
Yeah.
sa Google search. And then
Yeah.
may lumabas, edi yon. Kasi some
Oo.
people, pag kinopya nila, tinatamad sila, they don't paraphrase na. So,
Yeah.
diba? So, parang, paraphrase ka man lang sana, diba? So, yun. And then, another one is, but I haven't used this for a long time, but I think it still exists. Copyscape. So, may free version siya and then paid version. So, do try to check it also. But like what Chong said, there are a lot of tools out there. So, do explore. And then there's another question. So from Miguel Rodriguez Pelaez. How sustainable is blogging or vlogging? Is it more of a hobby or can it be considered an occupation?
Um, for a lot, definitely for a lot of vloggers, it's now an occupation. Some people, I know some people who've been blogging since 2010. They're the pioneer bloggers, and they've all quit their day jobs and just are doing blogging purely. So it is a sustainable profession as long as you treat it like a profession. So meaning you work on it every day and you don't look at it as a hobby. So it really depends on your approach.
Just to add lang no about that, if it's going to be successful when you do blogging or vlogging 2020. I have a friend who quit also his day job and he started blogging and creating contents in his social media accounts like 2 to 3 years ago. And
Mm,
now I guess he's already successful and he's even earning more than what he was earning before when he was doing his day job.
yeah.
So yun lang naman. Now, I have another question here this time, again from Mr. Evan Arnaiz. Do you have any local writers who you look up to for print and digital? Because I think he needs some inspiration then.
Okay. Yeah, I look up to a lot of my colleagues at my former colleagues at Philippine Star. So that's where I learned um, the that's where I learned a lot really about writing. I mean, I was there for a long time, and it's where I learned all the techniques and all the know the technical stuff, and also just gain confidence about myself. So yeah, these lifestyle writers. So there's Tanya Lara, Igan Dabayan, Scott Gerso, Therese Gerso, Lai Reyes, Kathy Moran. So these are all writers that I admire. You can look them up in the newspapers. Also, I mean, not just from Star, there are a lot of journalists who are really good writers, like oh, dami. Cheche Moral, Pam Pastor. Sobrang dami. So, just expose yourself to the medium, whether it's print or online, and you'll find inspiration in other people.
Okay. All right. I guess this is our last question no, for
There's
now.
another there's another question. It's from Jade
Okay.
Nora. So may pahabol. what
Oh,
do you
okay.
what do you think about influencers? Is it true that their influencing power is waning?
Um, hmm. I think it. I wouldn't say it's waning, but there's a shift. There's definitely a shift in priorities. On the viewers and on the audiences end. So if before influencers would people would watch influencers for what they're wearing or what they're wearing, where they're going, like for things that they have. Now people are looking for more value because we're just like as I mentioned earlier, we're just more attuned now to what's essential to our lives. So people are looking for more value in content. So I think yeah, it's not that their influence is waning, but it's that they also have to adapt to the changing needs of the audience.
Okay. So I guess ano no, this is our last question na talaga. So
Last na.
yes, all last na talaga to. So
Okay.
now the question is, what message do you have for job seekers and aspiring business owners as they embrace digital transformation in this journey?
Okay. I guess my advice is to have patience talaga. because this digital transformation, it didn't happen overnight, but then suddenly we're all just nasabay tayo. And so it's all happening really quickly. But at the same time, I think it's not, it's not, we're not supposed to be rushing also ourselves to adapt. Kasi parang it really takes a while and we should be forgiving of ourselves, and just take the time to study and um, naturally embrace the digital shift so that we're comfortable with it and not just adjusting for the sake of.
Thank you for that, Chonks. And ang dami ko natutunan. I'm sure the rest of the viewers also learned a lot. So, thank you. And maybe we can have you as a guest again sometime.
Thank you for having me.
Oo nga.
Of course, I'd be honored. Salamat.
Thanks again. So before we say goodbye to everyone, let me take this opportunity to remind you that Workbank lets you job hunt online. That means you don't have to go out and distribute your physical resumes to offices. Those days are gone. Create a professional profile, apply to jobs, and get interviewed. All online through Workbank. Sign up today on workbank.com to experience job hunting with benefits. Thank you for giving us your time today, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks for the next episode of Workbank ThinkTank. Bye!
Bye.